We are living in a time that I don't think even George Orwell or Aldous Huxley themselves would actually believe it, man. The fact that a person like Kamala Harris, with all the baggage and all the beliefs that we know that she has, the fact that that person can run for president without even being challenged about what she thinks, what she believes, or even what the hell she could possibly do is truly amazing. I mean, the fact that it's happening, it almost makes me think that we're past the point of no return. It almost feels like even if Donald Trump wins, and even if he's followed by a dozen more common sense presidents with actual working brains, it feels like our fate might already be sealed, man. If we're already this stupid, I don't know how we turn around. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, but I'm going to tell you, there is no alternate universe that Kamala Harris should have been installed as the nominee for a major party. And I think that's the one bit of silver lining. I think the one bit of silver lining in this is that powerful forces in the Democrat Party, they seem to be coming to the realization that they completely screwed up. And I'm going to show you some really, truly hilarious failures that Kamala had, both with Oprah and the National Association of Black Journalists, which is really freaking remarkable when you think about it, man. If you can't hit softballs from Oprah Winfrey all the way out of the park, then you're completely effed. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can accomplish. And I'm going to show you all that. But first, just a quick reminder of who this woman really is and really what these leftist propagandist interviewers are ignoring or hiding.
How mandatory is your gun buyback program?
It's mandatory.
Second Amendment?
The Second Amendment, listen, we're going to have to do it the right way. There's no question about that. But we don't have any, we have to get these guns off the street.
Responsible behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
Have you heard from
Senator, I'm curious though, because not one candidate who has very similar plans to what you have when it comes to guns never really seems to talk about the process of perhaps banning certain guns. Does it involve law enforcement essentially going to people's houses looking for specific banned guns? Does it involve perhaps creating a database of people who are legal gun owners? I mean, what kind of process are we talking about here?
Well, first of all, as a point of distinction, I believe I'm the only one who has said that she will take executive action. So mine is not just a plan with some plan for legislation. I'm actually prepared to take executive action to put in place rules that improve this situation.
This is who she is. She says, just because you are constitutionally guaranteed the right to protect yourself and your family, just because you've broken no laws, does not mean that Kamala Harris's government can't enter your home to make sure that you're not safe in conducting your affairs. That's insane. And this is who these people are, right? This is just one of hundreds and hundreds of seriously questionable things that she said or that she supported, right? I mean, these are the kinds of things that these people are ignoring when they interview her. Instead of asking about any of that, they think that this is what's important for you to hear from the woman who wants to lead the government that she hopes to send into your home.
Seen school closures, parents worried about their kids leaving the home because of racist conspiracy theories that I won't repeat here, but they have been repeated by leaders on the Republican side. From your perspective, is this just a case of irredeemable racism that can't be mitigated by any rational action, or is this a situation in which a federal response could help this community heal?
Yeah, obviously it's the irredeemable racism that we should be talking about and focusing on. That's the important stuff in the year 2024. Not the border, not the economy, not mandatory gun buybacks, not communist price controls. We can't talk about anything that she will do or wants to do because we have to talk about the irredeemable racism of the Republican Party. And I'm gonna show you her incredibly hard to follow answers to this in a moment, but just a reminder of how the very, very same organization welcomed President Trump.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a little bit different approach, right? Which I think is probably due to the irredeemable racism, but just look at this in the whole, right? It's not just the questions, right? With Trump, they were all spread out on stage. They had him as far away from anyone who might be considered a friendly journalist as they could possibly get him. And with Kamala, it's all very intimate. It's very friendly, very welcoming. Everyone's together, just looking each other in the eyes. And still, she cannot answer questions like a normal human.
It's a crying shame. I mean, my heart breaks for this community. When you are bestowed with a microphone that is that big, there is a profound responsibility that comes with that. That is an extension of what should not be lost in this moment, this concept of the public trust. To then understand what the public trust means. It means that you have been invested with trust to be responsible in the way you use your words, much less how you conduct yourself. And especially when you have been and then seek to be again President of the United States of America. I know that people are deeply troubled by what is happening to that community in Springfield, Ohio. And it's got to stop.
Can you even believe that this is happening? I mean, she says she's got the profound responsibility that is just, it's an extension of the public trust. But we have to understand what the public trust even means. And apparently, the public trust means that the public has invested into you trust. I mean, this is happening. This is truly, truly insane. And this is actually freaking happening. That mumbling, bumbling puppet of a person has a real freaking chance, like a real chance to become president of the United States. I don't think she can believe it. I think it's almost like she's doing everything she possibly can to make sure that no one actually takes her seriously enough to vote for her, right? She can't even answer friendly questions from people that allegedly actually like her, that were all handpicked and vetted by Oprah Winfrey herself. And Oprah has to basically cut her off to bring her back on track, right? To answer the simplest of simple questions. I mean, that's a real problem. And I'm going to keep going, guys, because if you appreciate this kind of content, make sure to hit the like button. That really, really does go a long way to helping the channel grow.
When you become president, what would be your specific steps? Yeah, of course. What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. You know, my background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected attorney general for 2 terms of a border state. So this is not a theoretical issue for me. This is something I've actually worked on. Okay. I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I take very seriously the importance of having a secure border and ensuring the safety of the American people. Sadly, where we are now can be traced most recently back to the fact that when the United States Congress, members of the Congress, including some of the most conservative Republicans, came up with a border security bill.
I'm going to stop it right here, man. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to fast forward for about 2 minutes because, I mean, she just rambles on and on and on about Donald Trump for literally a good solid 2 minutes. But just before I do, a quick reminder, and I know I don't have to tell you guys, and it's looking like no one actually believes this garbage about Trump killing the bill. That bill was garbage. And that bill would have solved absolutely nothing. And that bill's short life had nothing to do with Donald Trump. But even if all of those things were true, that bill was 6 freaking months ago, after tens of millions of people had already been aided into this country by Kamala Harris. No one believes a word she says, especially on this topic. No one believes a word she says on the border. And even Oprah apparently can only listen to it for so long.
Donald Trump called up those folks and said, don't put that bill on the floor for a vote. He blocked the bill, and you know why? because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. This again gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs, because we know it's within our capacity to do that.
So to answer Justin's question, now that that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely, and when I am elected President of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law.
She talked for so long that she didn't even remember the question. And honestly, I kind of wish that Oprah had just let her continue. I'm really, really curious to see just how long Kamala can word salad if no one stops her. I have a feeling it would be a pretty impressive filibuster. And I think Oprah knows that. I mean, she felt the need to cut her off and say, look, that bill is gone, man. The question was, what are you going to do? And apparently what she would do is nothing. She would reintroduce and sign a bill that allows 5,000 illegals to cross every single day before any enforcement mechanisms are allowed to be used. So essentially, she would make the problem less illegal instead of making the problem less of a problem. And she explains all this while lying about her own history or basically her own credentials regarding the border. She wants you to believe that she's been at the county level and the state level. She's been a county level and state level border hawk for her entire life. And that is just not even close to true.
Imply that Harris was on the front lines of the border crisis when in reality, as a California Attorney General from 2011 to 2017, she mainly dealt with state-level criminal justice. For example, her Back on Track program aimed at reducing repeat offenses through education, not tackling border cartels. So this claim is stretching the truth a bit. News Nation is fact-checking this claim as misleading. That also implies that Harris went after gang members for cross-border smuggling. While she did prosecute gang members in the state of California, these cases were mostly local, not involving international smuggling. For example, back in 2015, her office took on the Nuestra family gang for drug trafficking within California, not across the border. News Nation is fact-checking this claim as false.
Obviously, I didn't need to show that to you guys. I mean, you already know that she's done nothing, anything resembling like what she claims to have done in her life or in her career. But it's nice to see it all debunked in one nice, neat package. But we got to remember, I mean, this is a woman that thinks owning a gun should make you a target for law enforcement, but crossing a border shouldn't. I mean, she believes everyone should be allowed to go anywhere and everywhere, but don't go into Kamala's house, apparently.
When you said you have guns, no, at the debate. At the debate,
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that. But choice to suggest you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I'm in favor of assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws.
Yeah, that is just her really, really creepy way of saying that she's just like you, man. She's just a responsible gun owner, right? And when she talks about taking away your guns or mandatory buybacks or more red flag laws, she doesn't mean you or her or Tim. She means other people, not you. You don't have to worry. So, I mean, if we're keeping track, she knows about responsible gun ownership. So we shouldn't worry about all the things that she said or promised in the past. She was once a border hawk in her state, so we don't have to worry about the border she's actually given us for the last 4 years. And we also know that she grew up as a middle-class kid where everyone cared about their lawns. This happened in Canada, by the way. She grew up in a middle-class Canadian home. Just saying, that's not that important, but what is important is what she's going to do to bring down prices for everyday Americans.
Well, Rachel and Garrett are joining us on Zoom from Pennsylvania, and I understand your sister and brother-in-law moved in, and you're hoping to save money to have a second child?
That's right. Hi, Oprah. Hi, Madam Vice President. It's nice to be with you all.
Yes.
Hi.
And so what did you want to say to the Vice President?
So, Madam Vice President, we are, like many, many young Americans, just experiencing a very high cost of living. We ended up giving up our apartment, moving in with our parents who were so gracious to take us in for over a year so that we could save money and ultimately buy a home, because that's what we thought the American dream was, to get married and buy a home and have a baby. And now here we are, and our mortgage is incredibly higher than what we thought it would be. And my sister and our brother-in-law are living with us right now so that they can hopefully one day do the same. And while it's beneficial for us because they help us pay off some of our mortgage, it's also beneficial for them because they can save on cheaper rent. But we really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Just watch this couple's face as she answers this, right? And just listen to this insanity. And as you listen to this, man, it's just, I think it's got to be on purpose, right? I think her campaign is just drilled into her. Whatever you do, don't answer any questions. Just talk, just all platitudes, only talk about why. Don't ever talk about how. Because it's got to the point, it's got to be on purpose, man. It's got to be on purpose because they think the American public is stupid. They have to believe that we're stupid to put this out there.
It's also beneficial for them because they can save on cheaper rent. But we really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries. So that's why I'm taking on, for example, price gouging. Which is when, most companies and corporations are good, but for those bad ones, they take advantage of people, especially during a pandemic or extreme weather, and they end up jacking up prices, and there needs to be accountability and consequence for that. So I'm going to be taking on price gouging. But it's also about dealing with what we need to do around home ownership, right? So as someone mentioned during this film, look, I grew up a child of a mother who worked very hard. She raised me and my sister, and she saved up, and by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy a home. And we grew up actually for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center that was owned by the woman we called our second mother because she helped my mother raise us. And she was a small business owner, Miss Shelton. So I'll bring all this together to tell you the way I think about it is, one, when people work hard and have a dream of buying a home, we should give you the opportunity to be able to do that, which is why part of my plan is for first-time homeowners, buyers, to have a $25,000 down payment assistance to buy your first home. Because people just need to be able to get their foot in the door, and then you'll do the hard work. Part of my plan is what we need to do to support small businesses, because my second mother was a small business owner, and I love our small businesses and our small business owners. They are not only business leaders, they are community leaders. They mentor, they hire locally, and we have so many entrepreneurs in our country who have great ideas, incredible work ethic, but not necessarily access to capital, because not everybody, like my opponent, was handed $400 million on a silver plate that he filed bankruptcy 6 times on. And so part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That's a business in
teeny tiny business.
It's a concept of a business, right?
Yes.
You know where I'm going. That's right.
If you made it through all that, man, congratulations. That is absolutely impressive, right? But this is who these people are, man. This is the tip top of their intelligence, by the way. And still somehow they think that they're smarter than you, which really I think has got to be the most remarkable part of this whole deal. They think you're stupid. They think that a bunch of word salads and Trump deranged garbage is what it takes to be and become president. And it's always the same thing. Donald Trump is a bad guy because he had financial help from his parents to start his business, right? She literally just said that to a couple that lived as adults with their parents in order to save money. And now they're doing the same thing for her siblings, right? So Donald Trump getting money from his dad is bad and disqualifying, but this couple getting shelter from theirs is good. And that's just helping on the American dream. I do not know how they reconcile these things, but it's crazy. And not that it's important, but it was not this magical $400 million that they keep parroting. But the amount isn't even the point, right? I mean, they think somehow that it's a negative. I mean, they do the same thing with the Trump organization bankruptcies. They're always talking about bankruptcies, which really blows my mind. You know, they always talk about 6 Trump bankruptcies. But here's the interesting thing, man. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average says that 20% of new businesses fail during the first 2 years of even being open, 45% fail during the first 5 years, and 65% during the first 10 years. It says only 25% of new businesses make it 15 years or more. Donald Trump has started and owned over 500 businesses, and only 6 of them have ever gone bankrupt. No matter what side you're on, no matter how you look at those numbers, it's this lazy Democrat hit. It actually shows Donald Trump to probably be one of the most successful business people in the history of the freaking world. But honestly, I mean, it's the perfect example of really just how stupid these people think that we all are. And honestly, man, if we keep listening to much Kamala Harris, if we keep listening to stuff like that, we probably will be stupid. But that's all I got, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.